There were changes in the film industry as well. Sales of video cassette recorders went into fast forward, and the home video boom began. When the video ended, you could play Trivial Pursuit, the newest Canadian-invented board game, or zap aliens in outer space in electronic games. The first Canadian to actually get to space was Quebecer Marc Garneau. In 1984, he blasted off in the shuttle Challenger and spent 8 days circling the Earth. But the tragic Challenger disaster in 1986 sent the space program back years.
Flight controllers here looking very carefully at the situation. Obviously a major malfunction.
One of the mainstays of the space program was the Canadarm, a robot arm used to place and retrieve satellites in orbit. Canadians excelled in the sports world too. Speed skater Gaetan Boucher.
19 is our winning time. Let's check Boucher as he comes down the final stretch here.
And swimming champion Alex Bauman.
Bauman caught up to Morales, and then he passed him on the turn coming home on the freestyle leg.
Each won 2 gold medals at the 1984 Olympics. In hockey, the spectacular combination of Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky won the Canada Cup against the Soviets. Gretzky had become the Great One. His pinpoint passing and scoring touch captured trophies, records, and 4 Stanley Cups for the Edmonton Oilers. The entire nation mourned when he was traded to the Los Angeles Kings.
For the benefit of Wayne Gretzky, my new wife, and our expected child in the new year, there comes a time when
the kings of the ski hill were the Crazy Canucks.
They were known as the Crazy Canucks because of their aggressive, almost reckless attack of the slopes, which eventually ended more than one of their careers.
In 1988, Calgary hosted the most successful Winter Olympics to date.
Calgary is ready. Final touches to the Olympic face are being made. Everything's right on time, right on budget. Starting February 13th, the focus each night shifts downtown to the newly constructed Olympic Plaza.
In 1985, Parti Québécois leader René Lévesque resigned.
I thought it was better, all things considered, to do it just before and not after the National Council of our party.
Its new leader, Pierre-Marc Johnson, couldn't keep the separatist fires burning. Liberal leader Robert Bourassa won a sweeping victory at the polls. Then Lévesque, physically and emotionally spent, died of a heart attack. With all the pomp and pageantry of a state funeral, Quebecers bid farewell to a giant on the political stage.
D'autant plus que René Lévesque avait fait le cardinal Vachon chevalier de l'ordre.
Lévesque's legacy was to maintain a distinct culture whose foundation would be the French language, but Quebec's place in Confederation was still ambiguous. The Constitution had been patriated without the Quebec government's agreement. Now, Mulroney wanted to bring his home province into the fold. In 1987, he persuaded the First Ministers to agree on a constitutional amendment that recognized Quebec as a distinct society, the Meech Lake Accord.
And
And today is the culmination of, I think, a very great national effort, not perfect, but a very substantial contribution to nation building and to making Canada a better place for all of us.
The accord was hammered out at the government retreat on Beach Lake north of Ottawa. It was agreed that all provinces would have the right to veto constitutional amendments.
We are recognized now in a key place, and a place of honor in the Canadian Constitution. We are recognized now as a distinct society, which we are. So this is done now, is approved by all the premiers of Canada, by the Prime Minister of Canada. This is adopted by the Quebec Parliament.
But the accord still had to be ratified by the federal parliament and all 10 provincial legislatures within 3 years. It would ultimately fail. Beach Lake was an apparent political success. The stock market seemed an economic success. But on October 19, 1987, it too proved superficial. Canadians woke up to Black Monday.
Nothing can compare with this at all, ever, ever.
The stock market crashed.
Plummet. Panic selling. Panic selling, that's all it is.
Losing 20% of its value in one day. In 1988, Canadians went to the polls again. Free trade was the central election issue. Most Canadians voted for parties that were opposed to free trade. But still, Brian Mulroney and his Conservatives walked away with a second majority government, and free trade went into effect. But perhaps the event most symbolic of the Gilded 80s occurred at the Seoul Olympics in 1988. Canada's Ben Johnson smashed all records, running 100 meters in 9.79 seconds. When he took the gold, all the world was in awe. But a few days later, disgrace.
The urine sample of Ben Johnson, Canada, athletics 100 meter, collected on Saturday, 24 September 1988, was found to contain the metabolites of a banned substance, namely stanozolol. It's an anabolic steroid. Of course, the gold medal has been withdrawn by the IOC.
Ben's gold had turned to brass. And Canadians were reminded once again that reality often refused to live up to appearances in the Gilded 80s.